Tools and action replacements, take 7.
Hi, I'm Chevy Chase. This is Tools in Action.
And I'm Delmar. Welcome. We're going to talk about these Milwaukee Nailers today. What do you think about these?
I've used these on 3 or 4 jobs. This is Milwaukee's new 18 gauge brad nailer. This is their generation 2. It's a huge improvement over the first one. I tried out the first one a while back when it came out. Could not use it even after trying it for 10 minutes. Gave it back to my buddy, said no way, I'm not gonna do it. I went out and bought this one after I was reading some reviews, tried it out, and it is night and day difference. There's no misfires. This thing shoots all day long. I've put probably about 2,000 nails through my gun, and it works fantastic. Right off the bat, it runs off the small, either 2.0 batteries, 18 volt. So now I have a use for these batteries, but it's lightweight. It's not going to be as light as an air gun, but it's a hell of a lot lighter than a compressor. It has all the same features. On-off button is down here. You have different modes of fire, either bump or single. It also comes with 3 different tips, or you can take the tip off, but it will leave a mark. So if you're doing non-finishing stuff, you could take the tip off, you can see better, but it will leave a giant mark when you're shooting nails.
So let me ask you about this thing. How long are you getting this battery life with the small battery? Can you use it all day on a job site, or do you have to have a couple more?
Oh yeah, I've used it all day on a job site with a full battery, and it doesn't even go through half of it. I've started packing like 2 or 3 batteries when I bought this thing, thinking I would keep switching them out. I've left it on the gun for 2 or 3 jobs, and it still didn't go down to 0.
So should people get rid of the air compressors and go to these, or?
As soon as they come out with a 16 gauge nailer, I'll probably get rid of my compressor for trim. I've used this on all my trim jobs instead of my 18 gauge brad nailer from Bostitch. It has its trade-offs. The 18 gauge nailer from Bostitch is the one with the smart point. That is probably the best gun I've ever used, but it requires an air hose and a compressor. This one does not get into tight corners like that Bostitch, but it still gets in every corner I want it to. It's a little bit heavier. You have to get used to that, but after using it more and more, this is my go-to gun. It works just as good as the airlines, but there is a trade-off. You have to get used to it. My first job, I was like, I don't know if I made the right purchase here because of the weight, but after I got used to it, I realized this thing doesn't misfire. It shoots all day long, and I don't have to have a compressor. I can carry this up on a ladder, don't got to worry about the hose. I can carry this into the next room, don't have to reposition or get a longer hose. And around the house, when you're doing little tiny jobs, and I need to shoot a tiny little nail somewhere, I don't have to get the compressor out. I just go to my truck, pull out a battery, throw it in, and start shooting, and I'm done.
Yeah, so I think there's obviously some benefits to this. As a DIYer, though, what I think some people are going to be worried about is, does the price point justify having a nail gun like this? I mean, I think you can get decent nailer, air compressor for a lot cheaper if you're not carrying it around. So I think it just depends on your use. Another question I wanted to ask you, since you do more of the contractor work, is the delay that I think you get when you use a battery nailer that big of an issue? I feel like when you use the air compressor, you pull the trigger, the nail goes in. This one, it's like small delay, but does it affect your work at all?
Not really.
Okay.
With these size nails, it's mostly used for trim. You're not shooting super fast like you would with a framer. Trim work, you're always taking your time. You're always making sure exactly where you want the nail to go. I haven't found too many situations where I can't get the nail where I want. Immediately when you look at the size of this gun compared to other air nailers, the head's a lot smaller. You think you can get it in a small, and this would be hard to get into small spaces. I can get it in there. The delay really doesn't make a difference at all. Okay. I know there is a delay, but like I said, you're doing trim work with these guns. If you were doing framing and you need to keep going, you need to start shooting fast, a delay might be a huge problem for you because it's screwing up your day.
Yeah, I think the biggest benefit to these battery-powered nailers is you do not have to bring the entire compressor inside the house. The hose, you don't have to find a socket to plug it into, grab it, shoot a couple brad nails, and then you're on your way. So there's definitely some benefits to this. It feels good in the hand, pretty solid, sturdy. But like you said, you got to put it through the works to see if it's going to do what you want.
One of the big
What's your favorite brand, first of all?
Milwaukee.
Okay, so no bias there. Okay.
A big question I see up a lot of people is there a cartridge in here or not? From everything I've read, there is a nitrogen sealed cartridge in here. It never needs to be refilled. Some people have, because I don't know the technical specs about that actual cartridge. Some of the people I know that are smarter than me have said it's sort of like a shock on a car. It never needs to have to be replaced, but it's always going to be there. That's how this thing fires along with the battery, is there is a nitrogen cartridge in there. So
Put these things to the test. I'm not a Milwaukee guy, but you know, I will say that they probably make some pretty decent nailers. I mean,
Cool. All right, you guys ready? We're gonna start from the beginning.
We weren't recording on that one.
oh, I'm gonna give this thing a test. I'm gonna put it on the single nail mode, so you have to actually depress the trigger each time you want to put a nail in. I go left-handed so we can see here. Can you change the pressure?
you can change the nail depth.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Swing it around right here, just like
okay.
any other gun. Shows you which way to
Up
turn
is
it.
up. Yeah, so if you want to change the nail depth, not pressure, to get the technical term, go up, brings the nail out. You go down, pushes it further in the wood. When you're doing trim work like this, if you're concerned about the deep holes, you might want to lighten up the pressure. So let's lighten up the pressure here and see what that looks like.
I do have one question for you, Chris. Have you done hardwood and softwood?
Yeah.
Use the thing? Does
Yep.
it fire just as constant with both? With,
Oh, yeah.
So that's your mode.
Let's test out the bump feature on here. Hold down the trigger. It's pretty smooth, no misfire.
What do you think?
I like it. I think it's pretty solid. I mean, to not have to drag the air hose around or the tank, I mean, I think this is pretty good. And I like the size of it. Some of the other air nailers out there are just very big and bulky. I mean, this one's it feels nice. It feels good in the hand. It works nice. I got a couple pieces of trim in the house I want to fix now, but I don't want to bring the air tank all the way in. So this is the perfect opportunity for that, especially for the DIYers. You know, you might be making one sign today, and then you got to drag the hose out, turn the air compressor on, set it up right. This, pull it out, let's put the battery in, drive in your 4 nails, and then you're on your way.
Sweet. All right, cool. All right, you guys, check it out. Don't forget to go to Tools in Action. These dudes are gonna replace us. They have to give us a case of Coke and the whole entire Tools in Action.
Then we got it. I'm taking
Diet
all of it
Coke.
with me. Taking all the
Diet
tools
The whole
home.
empire is yours,
Yep,
man.
just for a case of Diet
Done.
Coke.
Bring it on.
Remember, for more exciting tool action, go to toolsinaction.com.